she is experiencing as she endures this scholastic or this school experience. She hasn't been in the classroom for a while, and now she gets to go meet Bradley's teacher. Before we even begin the chapter, how do you think she's feeling? I'm hearing nervous, scared. Addison. Yeah. Blake?
Scattered.
Maybe a bit scattered. Any other ideas besides nervous, scared, and scattered, Max?
Stressed.
Stressed. It's a good one. Eli.
Worried.
Yeah. Anxious, worried. Okay. So let's find out. Chapter 4. Bradley stood at the front door and hollered, "Mrs. Apple is a liar! Don't believe anything she tells you." Bradley's mother got into the car, gritted her teeth, and drove to school. She was just as afraid as Bradley, if not more so. Put your fingers there so I know you're with me, boys and girls. Of what Mrs. Ebel would tell her. She wanted to believe Bradley when he told her he was getting all A's or was elected class president. She tried to fool herself that it could be true, even though she knew it couldn't. She knew her son, and she knew Mrs. Ebel wouldn't take the trouble to call her on the phone if everything was really as wonderful as Bradley said it was. Still, she hoped. Okay, boys and girls, I'd like you to go through and find descriptive words that help support your opinion that this mood is anxious or stressed. You see any words on the first 3 paragraphs. When you find them, write them down. Words that help describe the mood. I'm seeing afraid. Excellent. Ooh, that's actually an action, but I love it, Kaylee. Gritting her teeth. Oh, she took it from you? Yeah, like, doesn't that show tension? When you grit your teeth, you're like nervous or you're worried. It gives you the emotions. It gives you her perspective on the approach to the school. She's feeling very anxious. What other words? Afraid, gritted her teeth. Now, trouble. How is that used? I forgot. Can you go back and find it?
Through the trouble to call her.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That probably supports her being anxious, but I don't know if that gives us the mood of the hoped. Hope, maybe. Yeah, she's feeling maybe a little bit hopeful, but deep inside, is she feeling really positive?
No.
Any other words that you found that help support the mood? So I have afraid. I have gritted her teeth. Charlie. She's trying to fool herself. Yeah, maybe convince herself. Megan?
Believe.
She's trying to believe in it. And then think about those words, though. Believe, is that an adjective or a doing word or verb? Believe, you believe something. Right, it's a doing, it's a verb. So we're looking for descriptive words there. Okay, I'm back on page 18. And I'm in the middle where it says she opened. Give me a thumbs up if you're back with me, please. Thank you, Josh. Okay, put your fingers following along. She opened the door to Bradley's classroom. Now I want you to visualize this. Okay, if it takes you thinking about Miss Epples being at our door in the classroom. She opened the door to the classroom. Okay, how is her stomach? Is it relaxed?
Butterflies.
Butterflies, yeah. Maybe even queasy. She's coming through that door. No one was there. Hello? She called out timidly. Oh yeah, that's one of our vocabulary words. She looked around. There was a bulletin board covered with A papers. She looked from one paper to another and hoped with all of her heart that she'd see one with Bradley's name on it. She didn't. In the back corner of the room, she saw a chart that listed the name of every student in the class. Next to Bradley Chalkers, there were no stars. Mrs. Chalkers? Mrs. Chalkers. Startled, she turned around to see Mrs. Ebel. "Oh, you scared me," she said, and then smiled. Mrs. Ebel didn't smile. Mrs. Chalkers sat at a chair next to the teacher's desk and bravely listened as Mrs. Ebel told her about Bradley. There was nothing Mrs. Ebel said that she didn't already know. Still, it hurt. It hurt to hear it. "Well, deep down, he really is a good boy," she tried to tell Bradley's teacher. "Oh, I'm sure he has a lot of good qualities," said Mrs. Ebel. "However, I have 28 other children in my class. I can't spend all my time trying to help Bradley. He has to decide whether he wants to be a part of the class or not. And if he doesn't want to be a part of the class, then he shouldn't be here. It just makes it that much harder for everyone else." "Well, what can I do?" asked Bradley's mother. Well, the school has just hired a counselor. I'd like your permission for Bradley to begin seeing her once a week." "Well, anything that'll help my son." "I don't know if she can help him or not. Bradley has some very serious behavior problems. If he doesn't show improvement soon, more drastic measures will have to be taken." "But deep down, he really is a good boy," said Bradley's mother. "Well, let's go meet the counselor." She led Bradley's mother down the halls to the counselor's office. The door was open, but no one was there. Top of page 20. Bradley's mother stepped into the room. Boxes were everywhere. Some were turned over with their contents half spilled onto the floor. A yellow ladder lay on its side. In the center of the room was a round table surrounded by chairs, but the table and the chairs were covered with papers and boxes and games and books. There was hardly any room for Bradley's mother and the teacher to stand. Can you visualize that room? In one word, how would you describe the room with all that information? Write it down. One word, describe the room and hold it up. Everything you just read in that paragraph. That's exactly the word I was thinking of, Joshua. Excellent, Eli. Okay, that definitely works. Yes. Good. Okay, that'll work. Okay, that works too. That's a great one. I'm seeing mostly the word that came to my mind, which is what?
Cluttered.
Cluttered. Yeah, some people said scattered, some people said a wreck, messy. Cluttered is a great way to describe all of that. "Oh, well, she's just moving in," Mrs. Ebel explained. "I'm sure she'll have it cleaned up by tomorrow." Mrs. Chalkers shrugged. She picked up a dolphin puppet from an open box on the table, and she put her hand inside of it. I think that's kind of funny, don't you? I mean, the mom's already playing with the toys in the office. Kind of alludes a little bit to why Bradley's the way he is, right? I mean, here she is playing with something that's not hers. Suddenly, there was a loud grunt, and a young woman entered the room. She dropped the box she was carrying, and more than 100 crayons spilled out across the floor. "Oh, hello," she said. She was a lot younger than either Mrs. Ebel or Mrs. Chalkers. She wore blue jeans and a red t-shirt with "rock and roll" written across it in light blue letters. She had light brown hair, almost blonde, and clear blue eyes. "I'm Carla Davis," she said, and she held out her hand. Bradley's mother stared at her a moment, then reached out to shake her hand, but suddenly realized she was still wearing the dolphin puppet. She quickly removed it and put it back in the box on the table. The counselor smiled. She needs to sign the form so that you can start seeing her son, said Mrs. Ebel. Miss Davis looked around hopelessly at her office. Oh, they're around here somewhere, she muttered, and began tearing into the boxes. What's our vocabulary word there?
Muttered.
Muttered. What does that mean?
To speak in a low tone. In a deep voice.
Like kind of to yourself. Oh, they're around here somewhere, she muttered. Perhaps I'd better come back, said Bradley's mother. Found him, said the counselor, holding up the forms. She cleared a space on the round table by pushing away a box and gave Mrs. Chalkers a form to sign. Bradley's mother looked around the messy office, then at the young woman with the rock and roll t-shirt. She shrugged her shoulders and she signed her name. Miss Davis took the form from her and said, "Oh, you're Bradley Chalkers' mother." Mrs. Chalkers nodded. You wouldn't believe the horror stories I've heard about Bradley Chalkers, the new counselor said. I've been here less than 3 hours, but it seems like every teacher in the school has dropped by to warn me about him. Deep down, he really is, Bradley's mother started to say. And what does she say, everyone?
Deep down, he really is a good boy.
Now, what does the counselor say?
I can't wait to meet him.
Now, from what we realized about her so far, how would she have said that? Hesitatingly or excitingly? Yeah, so let me hear you say that. Let me hear the expression in your voice. Much better. I can't wait to meet him. You know, she's saying, first you think she's going to, have this dread about these sessions with Bradley, but no, it completely throws us off when she says, I can't wait to meet him. The counselor interrupted, and then keep going, boys and girls.
He sounds charming, just like.
Yeah, very good. I love your expression, Isabella. Okay, boys and girls, if you think about